It is week 2 of the Expo, and we're really excited to be joined today by Dana Monsiagli, a UCSB alum who has so much to share with everyone today about job searching. This has been by far the most popular session, hot topic. She's got lots of great advice to share. So just a couple of quick housekeeping reminders. Everyone's on mute. Please leave your video off as well for the session. And we are welcoming everyone, though, to type questions into the Q&A. Deanna will leave some time at the end of the session to answer questions. We'll be putting links to different things that she's talking about in there. So keep an eye on the Q&A and be sure to add your questions in as well. So without further ado, I will turn it over to Dana. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Karen, and what an honor to speak to my peers at UC Santa Barbara, at our alumni. And I'll introduce myself a little bit more as to why I'm so passionate about this topic, and thank you for committing the time to join and learn something new. And what we're going to talk about are just a boatload of job search techniques that are new and different. And I graduated UC Santa Barbara in 1982. Yes, I had you can do the math, so I might as well tell you, celebrated my 60th birthday this past June. And here are some images from my graduation way back then, and my mom and my older sister and my dad, and we just had a blast. I kid when people ask me, well, what did you graduate in? Well, really, I majored in tennis, so I was on that's what I tell people, but the truth is I eked out with a political science major, but I did play on the women's varsity tennis team on a scholarship. We were 6th in the country my freshman year, which was very exciting. I also had a music scholarship. I was a flautist, and I played for the Santa Barbara Symphony on the weekends in my other free time, which you can tell now why I just got out of there with poli-sci. And I lived in Spain for the EAP program for the full year, Madrid, full year of my junior year of UC Santa Barbara. Now, since my launch at UC Santa Barbara, my career has zigged and zagged. So my first message to you is I hope you welcome zigging and zagging in your careers. Some of you already have, some of you are just embarking, and maybe you're nervous about the zigs and zags, and embrace them. They're wonderful. Right after UC Santa Barbara, I went to graduate school in Arizona at Thunderbird. It's now part of ASU. It's an international MBA program, and I worked for IBM to help me get through the finances at Thunderbird, but had a great time selling electric typewriters for those of you who are of my era. And then my job out of Thunderbird was in product marketing, product management in LA for the headquarters of Avery Label at the time, Avery Dennison, 7 years here. And then for the next 5 years, I zigged or zagged to a shipping company. A service business is containers, you know, those boats that cross the oceans with lots of boxes on them. And they just lured me up here to Seattle, where I now live still. And soon enough, my family and I moved over to Hong Kong for 2 years and Rotterdam for 2. So exciting trips abroad as an expatriate. I was the working spouse, taking our family all around the world. And then we moved to another foreign country, Rochester, New York, where I moved to be vice president of worldwide marketing for Kodak Digital Imaging. Way back in the late 90s, mid to late, 96 to 98, when digital imaging was taking off for professionals, but Kodak was not taking off in digital. They were in denial. So 2 years later, came back to Seattle, and 12 years at Microsoft in sales. So my background's been, I zigzag from sales and marketing and in industries, a lot of tech and tech, but also a mixture of non-tech. 12 years at Microsoft, very exciting. I was general manager of worldwide sales for the largest division, and led 500 people around the world in all countries, and very exciting, heavy duty work. All of this while raising two little boys, Shane and Chad, throughout. So we had 2 under 2 by the time I was back here. And just looking back, just some tips, just my looking back is very personal, but I have no regrets. It was a lot of zigging and a lot of moving. I did face a lot of adversity throughout. So this is not just a beautiful ride through the countryside or Montecito or anything. It is riddled with, of course, facing challenges of women, not just in technology, but women in her career, personal health. I'm a 3-time breast cancer survivor as well, had my first 2 bouts at Microsoft, and my last one up here with my current business, which I'll tell you about. Aim high. I've always aimed high, went for jobs that I had no business being in. At least I told myself that, imposter syndrome. But did it anyway, improved. We can do anything, just have the gumption to go and try. Now the road continues with my work of compassion. So I left Microsoft 7 years ago to help candidates. Complete role reversal from what I was doing, but always has been one of my passions. Naturally, I've been on the other side of the table for 3 decades, seeing it all, and knew there's a better way. The company side is not changing. It's actually getting harder and more technical and weeding people out. So I started in 2013 when I left Microsoft, wrote a book, Cut the Crap, Get a Job. And it started my business as an author, a speaker, private coach, and a blogger. And then morphed it after my 2015 bout with cancer, not wanting to travel the country speaking and just impacting one person at a time. So I went for the bigger impact. I launched an online course 4 years ago called Job Search Masterclass, and put all of my, not just my book, but much, much more into an online curriculum, a workshop. And then I specialize in offshoots of my course. Now I have one for military vets, for military spouses, people with disabilities, and I'm a Forbes contributor as well. And here my little 2 under 2 grown up, Shane, works for Tesla. He's 32. He's a finance manager there. And Chad, my wonderful youngest, works on my business for me. So he lives in Phoenix, far away from mommy in Seattle, but we have a great time helping thousands. So that's a quick overview of my background. Want to launch right into so much to share. So let's get to it. Please stick around to the end. Not only are we going to have tons of time for your questions, we'll go long. If you can stay, we're going to stay. I'm going to give you links to free tools that are normally in my course, but also another great offer as well, just at the end. If you can do 2 things, that would be great. Fasten your seatbelt, and you might want to grab a notepad and pen, although I'm sure you can maybe multitask on your computer, but I'm going to be shooting out so much because I'm condensing so many topics into this power hour. So you may want to grab something there. Plus, we're going to be putting links into the chat, and that's where you'll ask questions or make comments. And we'll be putting links in there that you can grab and put somewhere else for later. Ask questions anytime, although I'm going to blow through the content because I may answer your questions, but then I'll open up the chat box at the end. Sound like a good plan? Great. So I'm going to break out a master plan for COVID, post-COVID, the extreme hyper-competitiveness in the market. And all of what I'm going to share is valid for your internal job search or external. So this will help you even getting a promotion. 3-phase master plan. And its simplest version, think ready, aim, get hired. And why do I say that? Because most job seekers are out in the 3rd phase of get hired, spraying and praying with resumes. Does that sound familiar to any of you? And then waiting and hoping and praying. Okay, that's not working for you. So let's retool. Some of you may want to start back at the beginning and go ready, aim, get hired. So I'm going to take you through all 3 and provide some detail behind each one. So ready, what is that? It's getting your 2 feet grounded, setting your goal, and doing much more than just setting your target. Then aim is the biggest section, mountain of tools that you're going to prepare. And finally, actually hunting and networking to go through what I call the back door. So let's go through each one. Some of them I'm going to pause and go a little deeper. But again, the first phase is, have you set your goal? Can you articulate it clearly? Have you researched it? And then broadcast it. Most people think the elevator pitch question is just tell me about yourself. Well, there are two. There's tell me about yourself and what are you looking for? And that's actually more interesting to people. So we want to nail that. What are you looking for? How about starting with what not to say? And I know some of you are going to say, she knows what I've been saying. So don't say any of these. Oh, I'm looking for it. And you may have heard them. I'm looking for a challenging position that leverages my blah, blah, blah. It lands on a whole bunch of nothing, right? It could describe everything and nothing. Well, here's my background. Well, this person was asked, what are you looking for? And they went right to tell me about yourself. That's not what they need nor want. So listen hard to the question and answer it. How about this answer? Something in the technology sector. And my fave, sounds a little desperate, of course, is, I've got 20 years of this, and this, or 30 years. I can do so many things. And I call it the deck of cards syndrome, where you're just whipping out just everything in the kitchen sink and hoping they stop on a card that they like. None of these work. So how do you set a great job goal? There are really two most important pieces to it. So if you can narrow it down as the center of the bullseye, which is your next job. We're only talking about your next gig, not 5 years out. And that's, what function do you want? The most important is, what chair do you want your tush sitting in? And is that a product manager, a logistics manager, a COO? Name the job type. And then the second one is, if you have a preference, industries. But so many people ramble on everything but these two, and we still don't know what they want. Okay, so if you can, and I'll help you with this, because you're going to get a worksheet in the link that we provide, and it sounds like this, super crisp. Well, Jim, thank you for asking. I'm seeking a vice president of digital marketing role in a large tech firm in Chicago, Illinois. And you zip it. Just that nice and sweet. As a matter of fact, you don't even need director, VP. You could just say a senior. I love the word senior. And then you'll have a dialogue with them. That's not it. But try to write yours out so it's this crisp. And I'm going to help you with that after this session. So that's prepare. You now know what you're hunting for. It's a bear. It's got 2 ears, goes growl. We got it. And you've researched it. You know the key words and the skill words that hiring managers are looking for your job. Now we're going to get everything on the shelf before you start hunting. So preparing your tools, resumes and LinkedIn, much, much more. Plus you do interview prep this early. You haven't even applied yet, and we want you interview ready, because you will get calls. So I want you all to embrace relooking at all of your tools, adding some more tools, but really rethinking them, especially those of us who have been around. We start just adding on to our old resume. But we want to redo them, because now you have a new goal and you know what the hiring team is looking for in general. So you want to reverse engineer your resume, and I'll go over that a little bit more. I recommend 100% do cover letters. And the main reason, I don't care if you hear that they're out of date or some recruiters don't read them. For those who do read them, like I did as a hiring manager, or many do, you need to have one, because what if 10 other people have one? So I have a great template for one. It's just short, sweet, but it's customized to the job. So redo both of these. Then I'm going to show you how to redo your LinkedIn profile from this hard work, and update all of your activity and stay active. A job search tracker. This is to help you get organized. So some of these are tools and some of these are in preparation for the hunt. You're going to be doing research, and just stop all those yellow sticky notes, please. Get organized for your journey, no matter what you use. I use OneNote. I give a OneNote notebook. So here's an example of one of the tools of my 55 in my course, and that's a job tracker. And I'm going to give this to my brothers and sisters of UCSB. And this helps you log every move you make, your job opportunities, company information, the specs, and your most important, your follow-up. So many people forget to follow up, or you feel like you're being a pest, but this is going to help you and track everything as you juggle 10 opportunities at a time. Big, big issue out there is people are going for one job at a time. It's very frustrating and will lengthen your process. Ready to talk about resumes? First, two things. The world has resume-itis, and you may too. You may find yourself saying, well, I'm not getting calls because it's my resume. Oh, I got that call because they liked my resume. Neither are true. It's one tool of many. It is important. But here's why they're broken and why you want to rely on other things like cover letter. Because remember this game when we were kids? Well, this is the hiring manager's experience, and the recruiter and the robot, the applicant tracking system, is they have to weed through your resume, which comes in a reverse chronological format. So that format hasn't changed. And here's the job description, and they don't even match. So are you willing to abdicate your success to hiring managers who have to do this, or a recruiter, when you can do it for them? Okay, so keep this in mind. This is a really broken process, and I wouldn't trust the company to pick the right things out of your resume. It's just not working. It's getting harder for them. Thus, they have a computer now that's tossing you in the no pile for a variety of things. So now that you know that, I want to be more positive and help you. Resumes are now, it's new, you have to redo your resume. I mean, I can go on and on, but I'm going to make this short. First, they need to apply to 3 different entities. And I say that word purposefully because these two are people, the hiring manager, the recruiter. They can fog a mirror. This one is an inanimate object called the Applicant Tracking System, or ATS. And you only get one resume master on LinkedIn, but you only get one resume to send in per job, and it needs to satisfy all of them. So that's the first big change. The other big change is the technology that's reviewing your resume, the robot, and it is finicky, and it's getting more picky every month. My company stays in touch with all the changes that those third-party softwares make pretty uniformly. So there are little tiny details that I talk about and I instruct you in my course, but I've built them into my template. So if you choose to use a template, which I hope you do, don't change format, even the font, the way it's laid out. The header is in the body, not the header section of Word, etc., etc. So there's tons of details, and if you get them wrong, it just tosses you into the no pile. It has no maybe pile. It's just before a recruiter or a breathing person gets it. So that's a gift for you guys today. Then let's go into LinkedIn. Make this simple. I want to make your life simple too, and your success higher. And look at not the differences, the similarities between a resume and your LinkedIn profile. Not a coincidence. Your full resume should be in your LinkedIn profile. Recruiters expect that today. You shouldn't have to attach a little PDF in here and say, oh, my resume is up here. Or keep this light. The old school thinking is, oh, make this more conversational, and then they'll ask for your resume. Do you really want to do that? So I want you to be competitive. So what you're going to do is do your resume first, and then copy paste. It matches sections, including your great summary section that you will have on your new resume. That becomes your about section on LinkedIn. So, and then for the rest of your career, you change your resume, you change LinkedIn, you keep it current. Now, there are additional things to do in LinkedIn. That's in the LinkedIn lesson in my course, like your headline. There's a lot, there are 4 main additional things to do in LinkedIn, but you have the majority already done in your brand new resume. Makes sense? So keep them, change the game, keep your and oh, my big reason, the words used in the headline, these all help you score much higher on the algorithm in LinkedIn. Okay, so you want to maximize the algorithm. Really, both are running into algorithms. You all have access to the copies of these slides, so no need to take screenshots, and you have them instantly. So we're going to give you a link to a whole Dropbox folder, and you're going to have these slides. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this one, but it's your checklist after this session on, do you have all this on your LinkedIn? Your headline, maxes out the characters, the photo, things to assure. For example, and you're all welcome to connect with me. And once we're first connections, I find so many don't have their contact info updated. It's an old this, an old that. If you're actively seeking, you don't have to announce it, but you can put your contact info in the summary section as well. It's not limited to that one button. You can put it in your summary. You can put a lot in your summary called About in LinkedIn. They changed that a year ago. Don't know why. We're going to flip on over to interviews. So I'm going through Ready, Aim, Get Hired because you now have a goal. You've built all of your tools. We're still in AIM, the middle section, Ready, Aim, Get Hired, and you're preparing for interviews so that when you start applying and that phone call rings or an email or a text says, hey, I'm a recruiter, I want to do a phone screen. Guess what? That's an interview. There are so many different flavors of interviews, and look at them all as interviews. So now I want to dish out techniques, brand new techniques, because the world of interviewing has changed. So resume, the world has changed. To get selected to win an interview is really hard. Now you have an interview. Let's stun every interviewer. So I'm going to drip out a few, but I'm also going to invite you to a full hour of just interview prep. First tip, law of threes. Everybody, including me, we babble on and on out of nervousness. It's okay. It's a human characteristic. However, I want to unwind that for interviews. And you're going to learn frameworks from me so you can handle any question. You just know how to handle it. So here are the law of threes. I want you to say no more than 3 things. 2 is okay. And then zip it. Okay. And not only that, when you're saying your 3 things, prompt the listener. Otherwise, they just hear one long run on, or they stop taking notes because they don't know where you are. They can't keep track. So if it's just a phone screen or interview, say the words, oh, I have 3 reasons why you should hire me. 1, bum, bum, bum. 2, blah, blah, blah. It will help them so much, and it'll force you to pause a little bit between them. In face-to-face or video interviews, you could be talking, pause, and use your fingers too. Keep them right back here, by the way. I'm not even going to do it, but don't bring them to the camera. It makes them really big. So 1, 2, 3, as you're talking. Helps you, and also helps you zip it at the end. They'll have a conversation. You'll go on. So don't worry about being too short. There are a host of most commonly asked questions, and an entire lesson that gives a handout on all of them. What are your strengths? So these most commonly asked questions are the one most commonly failed. Bloopers all the time. Why? Lack of preparation. But I want to give you an idea here, taking the law of threes, using the 1, 2, 3, and in this one, and you'll have these pre-prepared. So you'll have a master set of interview answers, but then you'll tweak them based on the job description later. No different than your resume, a master resume. You'll have a master interview guide. So, hey, what are your strengths? They may ask, what would prior coworkers say? It's the same thing. Don't get fooled. Just use your go-to strengths. And this is where people, candidates really make a big boo-boo. And that is they overthink this question and think about 3 new things like, oh, I'm creative, but you're applying for an engineer or logistics job. That's not really important to that job. So folks, pick your three strengths carefully. Pick what they want to hear. They've scripted you. They've told you what they want. So make those your strengths, of course, with integrity that you have those strengths. And you state the strength and then the phrase. So hit them between the eyes. Don't lead up to time management. Say time management, I complete projects ahead of schedule, and you zip it after the second supporting sentence. 2, and you can see how that works. Another technique, different type of question. The world has moved away from what would you do, the hypotheticals, into situational or behavioral stories, storytelling. But storytelling can go on and on, right? You can just go on forever and lose them. And your person on the other side of the video is writing down their grocery list. So how do you also make a story compact? And many of you have heard about STAR, and Amazon, for example, requires STAR. They'll tell you that. I took out the T because we want 3, and T is so similar to A, tasks, actions. So here it is. When you hear a whole bunch of, there's so many flavors of this one. Tell me a time when, give me an example when, have you ever? The SAR is situation, actions, and results. And I want you to say those words as you're telling the story. Even if they ask you 5 stories, the situation was, da-da-da-da, very short, high level. Don't start teaching them how to build the airplane. Just a teaser, if you will, on what is the situation. The actions I took were law of 3s, 3 short actions using I. You have permission to use I, not team, not we. It'll be awkward at first. Do it. They want to learn about you. You're interviewing, not the team. And finally, as a result. So you'll breathe in between these, plus they'll know your story is done. You'll hit the period and you'll stop. They may probe on more and dig deeper, but tell me a time when you had a challenging business. Tell me a time when you had a challenging coworker. Well, the situation was I worked with this gentleman who just disputed everything I said. The actions I took were setting a one-on-one with him every few weeks to listen to him and what he does and what his perspective is and go deeper on some of the issues. Over time, as a result, we built a strong relationship and he stopped his disputing behavior. That's it. I just made that one up for you on the fly, so you'll be able to do the same. This is why the frameworks are important. So you can't possibly develop all these, but you can think about them in advance and lean on your framework. That's all I have time to share today on interviewing, but next week you have 2 options that I'll be delivering a free live deep dive just on interviewing. So please write this down, and Karen is going to put this link into the chat if you want to copy and paste it. Now these tinies need to be all lowercase here, and I set this up so it will take you right to the registration page of the free session. You can pick next Tuesday or Wednesday, so this was perfect timing, and you will get an exhaustive set of those skills and techniques to take away. Okay, so write that down, and Karen, I'm going to assume you've got it too, but we're going to send you to give you a master link that will have all of these mini links in it too. So I don't want to confuse you, but I want you to know we've got your back. Now, we're on the 3rd Ready Aim. We're on Get Hired, and that's applying and networking. And this is what most people are out there doing, but they're missing, as you can see, ready and aim, and then hunting. So let's talk about Get Hired. This is where you're going to customize that resume and customize your cover letter. So customizing your resume will be simple, and that is that top section of the summary that I showed you. You're going to customize that. You can't customize LinkedIn for every job. I'm going to show you how to network, and I used to have follow up or die, but that didn't sound good, so I changed it to crickets. So if you don't follow up, nothing's going to happen. And so I teach how to follow up. There's a whole new way to network for job search that's different than just general networking. And the old days, you know, the big events that introverts hate and most of extroverts, I know I did too. So they exhaust me. So that's the old, thank God they're gone. And there are still online networking events too. But for job search, you now need to put your target job in the middle, please, the one that you wrote earlier. And now you're going to use that to say for each job on my tracker, which you're going to have, my job tracker, each row is a different job. I need to meet unique people to help me with one job, and then another job and another job. These aren't going to be the same people. You'll be very organized to do this, but definitely for a target job opportunity, you want to find the recruiter if you can, or a recruiter in that company. You want to try to find the hiring manager or a senior person who might oversee this job. Peers, other employees can help you. And this is where UC Santa Barbara gauchos come in, is as you connect with me, which I hope each of you do. My name is the only one on LinkedIn, so it's easy. And then you have access to my network, meaning you can contact me and say, oh, I see you know Sally at Microsoft who works in the same department that I'm applying to. Can you help me out? Can you connect me? Or gauchos who work in the company anywhere can provide your resume through their employer referral system. Even if they're total strangers, each one of these, they don't have to know you. So I'm going to ask you to have courage for your LinkedIn behaviors from now on, to be precise. Surgical is what I'm subscribing, and I teach more in a more deep way, and very open to asking a stranger for help, because they are willing to. And the better you are, the more they're going to do that. So how do you do that? That sounds, oh, great, Dana, sure. And I just turn that switch on, right? No, it is complicated, and you want to have great form throughout. So your new networking strategy is called front door, back door. And now most people just apply online and spend time and wait, right? Those are the crickets things you don't hear. So 5% of your energy should go into online applications. You get the green check, you're done. Now 95% of your effort for that job needs to be the back door, which is networking. This is how you win interviews. This is how you aim for higher jobs, or jobs that may not be posted yet. So there's a lot of detail behind that back door, but I want to leave a lot of time for questions, and we can dive into that. I want to hear your unique situations and be sure we're addressing those. But I just wanted to be sure we covered your new system, and I want to show you more tips. For example, I've shared with you the interview course coming up, the free webinar coming up that I'm going to deliver live. And I promised a lot of goodies. I want you to build the muscle for your job search. So nothing that even in my course, I don't do the work for you. No one writes your resume for you, but to enable you to have the tools and brand new techniques is what I'm super excited about. So all of the free job search tools, and Karen, thanks if you can pop this one in. This is a different link than the other one. So I already gave you one link to register for the interview crash course. This is your link to 7 categories of freebies. Things I haven't even mentioned today. I just tossed a whole UCSB alumni bunch of stuff into to give for you. So that's another tiny.cc/UCSBF, all caps, free. But we're going to help you remember these as well. If you don't grab them, we're going to help you out, and we can send them as a follow-up as well. So now I hope you're all motivated, and I want to hear you soon. So we're going to open up the chat. Well, you can type in the chat at any time. And I want to show you more that I'm doing for my brothers and sisters here. And that is that I just skim the surface on ready, aim, get hired, and can't possibly go deep. I would love to. That would be probably a 30-hour workshop. That's what's in my course. So things like more tools to get organized, not just a resume and a cover letter, but I have a new technique to apply. It's called a candidate packet. More on social media. Where do you source jobs? What's the best way to find jobs? And phone email etiquette. When do you use LinkedIn? When do you hop out of LinkedIn? Really important. There is an entire module on LinkedIn. That's why I could only tease up front door, back door. But in module 4 is every single step. Literally click here, write this. There's scripts. How do you ask for that help? Because that's where the magic happens. Even if your resume is just meh, you will still engage with people who will help you and help you meet the hiring manager and the recruiter or forward it to their inbox. That's what you want. You want a secure interview. That's your number one metric of success. And then all of the interview prep is done. You'll get a career fair, job fair toolkit. I encourage you to attend those, and the interviews. So lots of bonuses to negotiating your offer. Oh, can I pause? Of course I can. Yes, Dana, you can pause. Negotiating. I just went to a University of Washington right before COVID-19 hit, a seminar on negotiating. And there's a PhD who just studies negotiation. Mostly it's tied to job offer negotiation, but business negotiations too. 46% of men negotiate their job offers. And that's still pretty low, right? I mean, I was hoping, 80% maybe, 46% of men. And women, the percent, I would do a quick poll, but we don't have time. It's women, 6%. 6. That's atrocious. It's awful, terrible. So I want 100% of each of you, since you're here today, you committed the time to negotiate all of your offers, internal or external. There's no downside. I give you all the negotiation letter, a spreadsheet, a calculator, but even, and the excuse is, oh, but I'm so grateful. It was a good offer. It's COVID. Doesn't matter. And they expect you to. So please, please, please commit that. For you, our UC Santa Barbara alum, I shortened this to UC alum, but I want to give you lifetime access to my course. My team is constantly updating it when LinkedIn changes from summary to about, etc. But this is a workshop format that takes you under 30 hours to do the complete course and be hunting. Tons of templates, tools, scripts, and it's constantly updated. I just slashed it down to near cost. So I gave you a special code of UC50. And Karen, thanks. This is another link, another one to register for Job Search Masterclass and take advantage of the savings. By the way, the monthly payment program, you only pay 12 times and then you have it for lifetime. So both of these, I believe this is not your last job search. So I want you to constantly go back and build this muscle to do it right, do every step right. So feel free to write that down, grab your code. This is all in that share site that I built for you too. So right now, I want to do two things. Karen, can I do a time check? How much time do we have for questions? And
oh, we're good. We've got a little bit over 30 minutes for questions.
Great. That's amazing. And then I can go a little deeper on some of the questions. I may go to my LinkedIn profile if you have questions there. I can go back to some of these screenshots and go deeper based on your questions. We really want to tailor this to you. So I'm going to go ahead and open up the chat. I see we have some. Great. And thank you, Karen, for putting the links in there. Okay, and I'm not going to call out your names or anything, but thank you for these. I want to keep it confidential, although you can see who it's from, but I'm still not going to call you out. So I found that after submitting my resume via the company's website, I get a standard response. Thank you. We will contact you if there is a match. Okay, and this is very common. First, I want you to ignore rejection notes that come from a computer. You heard it here. This is a nice one that Jean, I'll call you out because everyone can see it. This is actually a nice note that says, we've received your application. You know, don't call us, we'll call you kind of thing. Well, nothing's going to happen. So you can toss this one in the trash, but you can also toss the one, just pretend you never got it. And I want you to follow up anyway. So when you say there's no way given to follow up, of course not. That's the onus on you. So that's why you're going to be learning how to do the backdoor networking, because you will always find people. And if any of you want to post an example, I'm looking for a recruiter at T-Mobile or something, then I can actually play out a scenario. So Jean, since you started it, but please ignore rejection notes from a robot. They're usually not signed by anyone and they come instantly. Forget about it. Just go forward and try to win an interview by going through the back door. Okay. What is your suggestion for the not to be found human resources department to follow up with? Again, there's great to meet you. I'm pretty sure you might be a Dana and I'm a Dana, so people call me your name. Your suggestion is, no, there's always someone to be found. You don't have to find the recruiter. So I don't even call it HR. We're really looking for a recruiter. It doesn't have to be the recruiter for your job. You know that jobs are doled out across hundreds of recruiters or outsourced, but you just need to find one and ask them to forward it to the right recruiter. There's no way to know who's been assigned your task. I'll give you an exception. If you know someone who works at that company, they can look up who the recruiter is. So anyone who works there has a different view of jobs posted. They usually can find out who the hiring manager is and who the recruiter is. But hey, go with any recruiter. Go with a senior talent manager. Don't worry about levels. Don't be daunted. Just ask them clearly, if you're not the recruiter, can you please forward this to whoever is? So there are always ways to find recruiters. However, don't have recruiteritis either. I want you to go and find who might be the hiring manager, who's working in that location or in that department, and find people who work there who might be peers, even or your future peers. And you're going to build them as total strangers and soliciting their help. It's like you're enlisting people to be on your team, and they will. Okay, and I can, again, if anyone wants to propose a job, then I can show you how to do a LinkedIn search real fast, but there's videos and so much tutorial in here as well. Tips for older than 55 plus alumni. Hello, peer. Dealing with the 1 to 2 page resume restriction. Okay. 2 pages max is what I recommend for all. However, if you have a real senior, if you're a C-level or even VP, getting into 2.5 pages, even filling 3 is fine. It's really about the layout. So it's not because 55 and older. Let me tell you where the rules though for boomers is, and for anyone, you should only share 12 to 15 years in detail of your background. So I'm going to go back to the resume slide. See if I can. Oh, let's see where it is. I'm going to have to do this old school way. Okay. I had a bigger one. There we go. The rule of thumb is in this detail where there's company name, description, company name, or you have multiple roles in one company you've been with for a long time. This detail should stop at about 12 to 15, and I say that because you want to cut it off at a good point. You don't want to cut it off mid-job. Some have to go to 18 years, okay? And then you'll have one last job that, as a job that says prior experience includes, and you're just going to list skills, not names of companies and jobs, you know, restaurant cook or anything else, but you're going to boast about more skills behind that. But that's one way to help prevent ageism. You also don't need, you shouldn't have, and no one needs to have years on your education. You don't have to put the date of your college graduation. You know, if I put 1982, they're going to know I'm 60. It just kind of works like that. You don't have to put it on LinkedIn either. All these rules stay the same for both. You don't have to put months. You can put years. And then the rest for ageism is really the language that you use is current. So you know the keywords. Your LinkedIn profile photo is great. You're energetic. You're looking good, looking the part. And then it's your follow-up, follow-up, follow-up. And your interview prep. For boomers or for ageism, often it's the interview that you got the interview and then didn't get the offer because we sounded ill-prepared, tired, the video, we were having problems with the technology, all that adds up to, uh-oh, right? So I've got a whole section on ageism for later, but so great question, but you're not limited to one page. Okay. Is there a suggestion you have on how to word your LinkedIn connection request when you don't have a previous connection? Oh, I love this one. Thank you. Thank you. I was hoping someone would ask that. So what I'm going to do is go out to my LinkedIn profile and I'm going to see if I have any. I cleared mine this morning. Okay. This is great. I'm going to bust some of you who might be on this call. And so Talia, congratulations. You sent a nice note. So this is what I want all of you to look like on the receiving end. We are total strangers. Hello, Dana. I'm you. Okay. So anything you say, I'll crack it open so you can see what Talia did. And then sign your full name. Just raise the bar on formality. So just sign it, Talia Waldsmith. Great. Here is Kelly, and there's no note. So the first rule of thumb is always, always, always to total strangers or your best friends or your cousin, get in the habit of always writing a note. But I'm going to show you a trick because it's not easy to make this 100%. And then here's another great one. Colleen, fantastic. And there, look, Colleen, yeah, she even put UCSB, great. So I'm going to accept all these three, but I want you to always be the one to write a note. Here's the catch. This is LinkedIn's fault 100%. They don't make it easy, meaning they provide too many. Look, I'm going to scroll down. I'll accept you guys later. See all these connect buttons? They won't let you send a note. So they're tempting. Here's another one. Here's Colleen's connections. Ooh, I want to meet Fatima. Okay. Don't hit these. So LinkedIn's all about what not to click as it is what to click. If you want to connect with anyone down here, let's say I want to connect with Derek. Well, I'll scroll down further and, well, no, I'll stay with Derek. Then the rule of thumb, I'm scrolling too much. Here we go. Don't hit that. Rule of thumb is open Derek's full profile. And you want to get in the habit of that anyway, because what if you have something in common that you can mention? You both went to UC Santa Barbara, or you visited Melbourne, something. So I don't know him. I'm just opening his full profile and scrolling all the way down to learn about him too. And now I know I'm on the right page. Okay. That's step one. Do not do this on your phone. Put your phones down for job search, please. And I'll tell you why. LinkedIn's app on the phone doesn't help you find the way to write a personal note. It's super hard, and you got to go into more and this and that. So look, right here is the connect button that come on, mouse, stop going crazy. Connect. This is the button that you always want, and it always add a note. And that's where you write it in. And there are 300 characters here. So you get to say a lot of things. I provided a script of a bunch of blurbs in my course, but just be professional. As, oh, Derek, I saw your profile. We have this in common, or we don't. But congratulations on your great success. I hope to connect with you here. Sign, Talia Waldsmith, and that's it. You click send. So please do a note every time. Open their full profile. Don't hit any other connect buttons that LinkedIn teases you with, and open up their full profile and don't use your phone, and you'll be all set. So That I'm so glad you mentioned that. And now I want to go back and okay. So how to word it, Laurel, I think you got the hint there, and it's you don't have to know them. By the way, be more aggressive, everyone, on your LinkedIn connections. It's not just for when you're in job search mode, but if you read an article out of a book, or you bought someone's book or a magazine or a Twitter feed and you found them interesting, connect with them on LinkedIn. I want you all to lean in much more. And, I invited you to connect with me, but I hope on all the speakers for this UCSB event that you're connecting with each one of them and other people that you're seeing in today's chat as UCSB alumni. Grab those names, do a screenshot of the chat or something, and connect with them afterwards too. That way we all share. Please confirm that there's a cover letter template on one of the links. No, the template for the cover letter and my new technique to even add to your cover letter is in the course. So I want you to make decisions about going full bore on having something for lifetime in the course. So it's not in the one, but the resume template is. And I do have some blogs about it. So I have close to 1,000 blogs that has a search function. So feel free to go onto my website and search on cover letter. It's usually recommended, this is a comment, it's usually recommended to tailor a resume to specific jobs. How do we balance job-specific documents with our LinkedIn profile? Great. Well, first you're writing a master resume. So the myth is a lot of people try to super tailor their resume too much, and then they can't keep track of it. So first have a master saved, big bold words on the folder, master, do not edit. Okay, and then you're going to take that and you're not going to do massive scrubbing because your professional experience is what it is. And if you've used my template, you're going to be highlighting skill words in big, bold letters. I know you can't see this, but I have a new technique on your bullet points. It's the summary section that will have 3 to 4 sentences at the top and keywords and key phrases on here. That's what I want you to tailor. So under the word summary, which the robot wants, by the way, they look for the word summary, not, overview or executive profile. And same with professional work experience. They look for certain subheads. You can tailor this. This is where I want you to add new keywords right from their job description. It's like they're feeding you the answer. So use that on your tailored resume. You'll use those in your cover letter. LinkedIn, leave it alone. You trust your master resume that's now in LinkedIn and leave it there. You can't tailor it. Now, if after doing a few applications, you realize, uh-oh, my master doesn't have a key skill they're looking for. I forgot cross-team collaboration. Well, then put it in your master and then put it in LinkedIn. So this isn't locked in stone, but it should be great if you've done your research homework in the steps before writing your resume. My resume lesson is square in the middle of my course. It's not the first thing you do. There's all kinds of work beforehand, including an exercise called window shopping. Can you share a bit more on setting up a resume for robot review as well as human? Or perhaps it's submitting a separate PDF of the resume in human format and modifying. No, please remember this triangle. One resume will satisfy all 3. And by the way, the latest news for the robot is they prefer Word when you're applying online. Word for your resume. It reads it much better. PDF sometimes hides stuff for some reason. I know we like PDF because it locks in the format, but your Word format is just fine and no one's going to touch it. No one's going to play with it. So it's on your LinkedIn profile. So please think of Word for your online submittals. You can PDF things around when you're emailing through the back door and networking, but for the robot. So no, one format. You don't set up one for the robot and one for people. It's going to be easy to read. I've been using this template. I designed it 7 years ago. I refined it 5 years ago, and I keep touching it if the robot changes. But the recruiters and hiring managers love this. They've all vetted it. My clients all say this is working for me. It's all your choice at the end of the day. Naturally, I recommend my template, but you can change whatever you want to change. So Laurel Weeks all mention your, oh, I'm sorry. This is a note from Leslie to everybody, is she's recommending mention your gaucho connection. Sure. If you have any kind of connection, hey, you live in LA, I was born in LA. It could be by school, by military, if you saw that they're an Army and you're a Navy brat, anything, if there's something, but also just be kind and stroke their ego in a positive way. I say that kiddingly, but hey, great book, great article. I saw you on the Forbes, and I'm honored to connect here. I love your position on this. So just anything. You don't have to have a reason to connect. Just have a note. Do you think it's worth the expense to upgrade to LinkedIn Premium? Okay, everything I teach in my course is on LinkedIn Basic. Now, LinkedIn Premium has a few cool features, like you get to see who viewed your profile. Not many people use that. It's really up to you. It is expensive. And if you do enough searches and are active enough, LinkedIn will require you to purchase LinkedIn Premium. If they haven't sent you that note yet that, oh, you only have 20 more this or that, I would stay, money's hard to come by today. So I'm frugal. Everything I teach and searches and finding all these strangers and doing the back door can be done with the free version. What if we don't have Word? I'm so glad you mentioned this. The companies that you're going to go work for most likely use Office. It's just statistically, not because I'm a Microsoftie, still shareholder, but they just do. So you want to know how to use a full version of Office Suite anyway, and know the transition of a Google Doc to a Word doc loses. I've had people do even my template. They've switched it into Google and then back to Word for me, and it's like, oh, it gets really wonky. So I do recommend Office 365. The subscription's gotten really low. There's a student version as well, but see if you can. All I can say is you want to be able to know how to navigate Word and PowerPoint and Excel for your future job with that company. But the world of the ATS prefers Word. I've never seen, because we go to all their websites and into their specs, and they don't say Word or Google Docs. Okay, if you know in the company who referred you, should you refer to them in the cover letter, or is that name dropping? Well, this depends, and you'll learn why in so much more detail. If first you ask permission to the person who referred you. So some of them just they post your resume. There's the employee referral process, and you want to ask them if they'll do that. And they often get a nice bogey. It could be $100, could be $1,000 if you get hired. So they're motivated to help you get in the door. So don't apply online if you know somebody's going to put you through the employee referral system. Otherwise, they don't get credit for you. So have them do that first. Then it depends if they know the person that you're sending your cover letter to. So first, you're putting your cover letter into the robot too. There's most 90%, there's another section. It says put your resume here, put other documents here. So I want you to fly your cover letter in. However, if you're giving it writing it to a recruiter or a hiring manager, the back door, it's really up to that person. Ask them, will your name get me anywhere, or can I use it? Get their permission first. And there's no downside. Sure, if a VP referred you into the company, but even if they're just another employee, then use their name, but please secure their permission. And no problem with name dropping anywhere. What recommendations do you have for over 60 engineers, chemists, or physicists that have a niche skill? So there's no different recommendation. I've hired highly, highly technical jobs too. And it's really about ready, aim, get hired. It's all about what job are you seeking? What are the keywords and skills that they're looking for? and it's going through the same process. You're going to be applying to very different jobs, but you still have to meet specs. You may have a link to a site that has your certifications. That's fine. I'm blanking on the name of the site. I want to say, I've seen it so many times. So you may add things to your resume, but there's nothing different about your age or the type of function. Everything I teach is for any kind of function, any job in any industry. They all have the similar processes. Other than federal government jobs handle a little bit differently, but I have a federal government resume template in my course. Could you touch a little more on how to get into the back door after applying? Is it advised that I connect on LinkedIn with the person I address the cover letter to? And let me just, Karen, we're still at 1:15-ish, right?
Yes.
I'm not looking at the clock. Good. So why don't I touch a little more? Let me do this. I'm going into my course, and I'm going into the entire module that's on networking. So there's a lot to learn here on this precision, but there is a lesson called front door, back door networking. And in that lesson, I accidentally clicked on number 2. Okay. So what you'll do is first I recorded a video that teaches and goes through some demo, but I also have more demos down here. And here I have 2 big documents, but they're checklists of networking instructions. So it gives you the exact order. I'll open up this checklist because this is a new one and it's very, very detailed. But it's step by step. So I'm going to make it a little bigger. So here's your checklist. What is it? Okay, step 1, for every position, you're going to prepare this. And now you're going to prepare to hunt for contacts. So I teach you how to find the people to connect with. So I teach you, you haven't even connected with them yet, but how do you find them? LinkedIn Premium is not required. So I teach you how to use the search feature in LinkedIn, advanced search. Then the hunt begins. So now your mission is to find those 3 relevant people for each job. You're going to just turn this crank for each job. And it is in LinkedIn. And you're right, it is about connecting with them first. Because as a first connection in LinkedIn, you get their email address. Folks, LinkedIn isn't required. The holy grail is to find who is the possible person and what is their email address. I want you all to get out of LinkedIn once you connect with someone and move to email. It's more professional. You get to do better attachments. And by far the number 1 reason is they can forward your professional email to someone else in the company, which is impossible in LinkedIn. It's also impossible to task manage stuff in LinkedIn. It's just not there yet for a recruiter or anyone. So get out of Dodge and into email. So I take you through how to search for people. First connections, second connections. Do you have any college or university alumni? Gauchos. What about by title? If you're a vet or military. And then how do you connect for results? And this is where I give you lots of scripts. So this goes on and on, but I want to be sure that you know we got your back on how to do professional networking for results, where people say, I'm in, let me forward your resume, let me hook you up with the hiring manager, and then you're talking with them in email, and you're following up on your network connections 3 times. So I teach you how to follow up. Can you, okay. So I'm sorry. This one person, of course, has a MacBook, and you don't want to pay for Microsoft Office license. I can only recommend it if libraries are open, if Kinko's is open. Is at least getting it into that Word doc, saving it. Yeah, I wish I could help you on that, but I'm just representing the hiring side. And I wouldn't want you to try Google Word. Is it called Google Word? Google Docs? Probably not Google Word. Google Docs, and then get kicked out by the robot. Or sending I've received from my clients is a Google Doc resume, and I transform it to Word because I don't have Google Docs. So I got to put it in Word, and it just looks funky. So I'm sorry to just beat that dead horse for you, but might be worth sort of things. It might be worth the investment. I don't know. Can you talk about the catch-22 of aiming for a role that you don't have the exact experience for? For example, you want experience, but a company may be looking for very specific. I teach this in my resume section, because rule number one, you have a resume, and I teach you how to compare your resume to a job. Then rule one, I want you to apply even if you have 60% of what the job is looking for. And they may say clearly, must speak Swahili. You don't speak Swahili. I want you to apply. You'll address that in the interview. Have the problem that they pick you knowing you don't speak Swahili. And here's why. Job descriptions are written for the perfect person who doesn't exist. Let me repeat. Job descriptions, and I've written hundreds of them more. I write them for a robot. I want the person who just does all this, can stand on their head and tie everything, all the shoelaces, okay? They don't exist. So ease up on yourself and aim high and apply. If you use the other tools in my course, the new technique called a candidate packet, you can even highlight that next to Swahili. You're gonna say, don't speak it, but willing to learn on the job. You are eager to learn. That's your answer. Not, no, I don't speak it, but wow, I can't wait to learn Swahili. I'll do that once I start. So have more of a positive aspiration of what's possible, because you don't know which skills on that job description are they stack ranking. You'll never know until you get the interview. Then you can ask them, but you're that far. So please, everybody, go for a job if you have 60% of what they're looking for. A number of community colleges and outside career-directed locations offer short-term skills courses, and you can earn digital badges. Are you hearing that employers know about this new initiative? And what about LinkedIn Learning? List them? Question mark. Typically, no. Many people are doing all these wonderful learnings. I hope you are. Well, that's why you're here right now. But you don't list them on there. Certificates are, if they're asking for a PMP for project management and you have the PMP certificate, then put that on there. However, a badge in a certain area that they are looking for in your job, yeah, so be selective, please. Under training on your resume, put some, but if you took a course in speaking Swahili, or just for kicks, or how to play left-handed guitar, or even cross-group collaboration, or a lot of the LinkedIn Learning ones, or if you learn a soft skill, I would not list all those. In an interview, you can mention those. Oh, I'm glad you asked me about cross-group collaboration, because I not only feel great about it, but I just got to a master level in this great LinkedIn Learning class I took, right? But that's where you should mention it. Save your best training and certificates. For badges are fine, and save those for your resume and your LinkedIn profile. LinkedIn, you can add more. I want you to be crisper on your resume, and you can throw some more in on your LinkedIn profile. But it clouds other good stuff too. So watch that it doesn't overshadow really important ones. Oh, I love this. Won't hiring managers be annoyed by LinkedIn connection requests? No, and I've scripted it for you too. In that, first, they don't get many. They don't get many from. So I wish that was a problem, but it's not. So you get to be different. When I was a hiring manager, wow, receiving, hey, I just applied to your job 1, 2, 3, 4. The stuff I wrote is the stuff that I liked receiving. By the way, I'm only giving you advice from me being on the other side of the table. What I scripted for you is, Jan, I just applied for your position, 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'm so excited, honored to connect here on LinkedIn. Jean. I mean, at first, you're not asking a question. Don't ask any questions or favors in your connection request. First, they disappear once they click accept, but it's just inappropriate. You don't have a connection yet. So only make your connection request just for that. Don't ask, can I please have an interview? That's not what you're going to receive in my course. So no, you're going to be complimentary of them. Wow, I'm so excited. You run a great organization, or so-and-so told me about you, but just keep it nice and crisp as a connection request only. They won't be annoyed. Oh, I can tell you 9 out of 10 of my clients, even on follow-up, oh, Diana, I'm uncomfortable. I don't want to be a pest. I hear it over and over. Be the pest. You're not. You're not even close to being a pest. You must follow up 3 times after everything, but that's a whole nother lesson. What's the best tool you recommend to research salary statistics? Great, and I list these in the negotiation section, but pay scale and Glassdoor. Glassdoor is the best known, but you can check both. Glassdoor has a salary section. LinkedIn does now too. So they're trying to get into Glassdoor's business. The key is using those as benchmarks. Please don't, when you negotiate, don't say, well, Glassdoor said this job, the median is, naturally find what's going on in your city, but I recommend all of you, but do that later. You're not going to negotiate salary or talk about it in your first early interviews, if at all. And that's where I train you on interview, not to raise the question and how to answer those 2 compensation questions that they typically ask, which are, what was your prior salary, which is illegal now to ask, and what is your desired salary? Save all that for the offer stage. And I have as a fresh grad, how do I answer the question about salary expectations? Same thing. You're going to see it's your job type. It's not about being a fresh grad. It's about the job you're applying to, is what is the market? I love that word. I want, Sally, Sally, thank you for asking me about my salary expectations, but right now I'm confident that Microsoft will pay market competitively. And you're just getting information. Don't jump to that research right away. Stay focused on winning interviews and learning how to answer those questions, and then you'll be prepared for the salary discussion. Okay, so now it's great. Karen just posted in chat, just so you all know, that, she posted another, the Gaucho Network, a great place to start. I'm just letting you know that we announced this goes to 1:30, but I'm going to stay here. Karen's staying here. We want to exhaust all the questions. So we love you guys sticking around for this, and value each of you. And I hope to see each of you in next week's 1 of 2 interview crash courses. Please join. You'll get more stuff there. And you won't get as big a discount that I'm going to be offering my course on those. So grab UC50 and dive right in. I'm here to support you. We have a private Facebook group. I'll be answering your questions, and we'll be connecting personally as well. So Karen, thank you for posting that. Okay, so here's a good one. Well, they're all good. What do you recommend for ways to get informational interviews for advice on changing careers, or informational interviews to gather information? Okay, to prepare for a job interview. So as a manager, I only recommend asking for an informational interview if you're heading into the interview. Like if a recruiter says, oh, good, you're going to be interviewing, say, can you help me just get 30 minutes of the hiring manager's time so I can ask a few questions before the interview? But I wouldn't ask for an informational when you're connecting with a hiring manager. Here's how informationals work from a hiring manager perspective in all my companies. I only gave time for informationals if they were possibly going to interview, because there are thousands of applicants. And so all of them, if they ask for an informational interview, we just don't have time to do that, nor does the recruiter. So everyone's jammed. What I would do is ask for, I love your first idea, is if you want advice on changing careers or learning about your next career or anything, find people who have done that and ask for a meeting. Call it a meeting. I'd like to ask you 3 questions. Can I have 30 minutes? Love 30 minutes, by the way. You'll have a higher likelihood of them taking it. So ask for, I'd like a networking meeting. I'd like an information meeting with you, not an informational interview. It's different. I don't know if I've confused the crap out of you, but I hope not. So when you apply to a job, go for the formal interview. Always say, can I have it? I want to be on the interview docket. Okay, but if you want to network with anybody, ask them and then send them a formal meeting invite and book it. Book the Zoom, make it happen. Don't just be squishy. I get so many, hey, Dan, I'd like to pick your brain. Don't use that. Don't use that at all. I'd like to pick your brain. When can we meet? Well, I'm not going to set that up. You set it up. Just be bold. Send a meeting invitation. I'll move it around. But please, you guys take ownership of setting up a meeting. And if they accept, great. If they don't even respond after 3 tries, they're just not that into you. So thank you. I know some of you need to drop. And we'll do more on social media to remind people of all of the sessions. Yeah. And what else? Can we share your interview workshop with someone who is not? Oh, yes, please, everybody. I'm doing a lot on social media too, but share that link to your friends, post it, please, and have them join. I see a lot of people, there's no limit, and whoever and whatever age, kids, daughters, college kids, boomers, anyone can come. Please enjoy it. And does your material cover the case study method? I can guess at what that is, but I'm not sure. Maybe Eric, you can reply more, go a little deeper on that. The SAR often is called the case study method of tell me a time when, and you roll through. It's not a hypothetical case study, but it's a real story. So I don't know exactly what you might be referring to as the case study. No, I don't have a topic or a lesson that calls out a formal case study method. If I've missed any of your questions, I'm just going to scroll through and see if I've missed any, but feel free to type them again. I'm scrolling backwards.
Dana, I've been following along too, and it looks like you've covered what we've got in here. And Eric's got a follow-up.
Oh, there he is. Okay, so specifically in the consulting industry, they make you present a case study as an interview method. No, I don't, because Eric, there's also in sales, they ask you to give a sales presentation. In marketing, that might be a different kind of case study. So I have had applicants do different case studies. In tech, it's called whiteboarding. So no, I don't go into all of those different versions. Companies do a good job of preparing you for that. They want to see you succeed. And even among the big 4, the consulting, they each have a different way. So I always ask the recruiter for as much information about the interview as possible. They may not tell you who you're going to be meeting with. Ask them. Then they'll say, oh, here are the 4 names. You connect with those people on LinkedIn before the interview. Always lean in, be much more aggressive by connecting with your recruiter, everyone you meet, just have fun with that. And good question, Jean. Do you give references in the resume? No, that ages us. That's old, gone, toast. What I'd love you to do is get recommendations in LinkedIn. And if you don't have any, please get at least 2. So I'm going to go back to LinkedIn. Oh, this bar hides my, there we go. Okay, let's see if he has any. No. So here's a guy. I picked a poor random guy, dude, Derek. He doesn't have any references, so I can't show you his. And I'm going to go back to my my profile and show you what I mean. Sorry if you're seeing that my Amazon package is delivered to my child. You may or may not be seeing that. So here's my LinkedIn profile and recommendations. And you ask for that recommendation through, and I'd love you each to have at least 2. You're free to read mine, give recommendations as well, but I'd like you to have, now, when you get to the hiring, the offer stage, usually post-offer is when they ask you, can we please have some references? And they'll come up with some of their own too. They may or may not be the same people on recommendations. So you have your references in your hip pocket. And sometimes they're not even asking for that anymore, but they will do their due diligence on your education and they may call some references, but don't put them on your resume. Don't have a separate sheet. Don't even say references are available upon request. You remember all those? They're gone. Okay. A reference is synonymous to letters of rec. No, so letters of record are no longer used. Those are mostly getting into grad school now or some other purpose. You don't need letters of rec. After an offer, they're going to ask you for references and they're going to call them or send an email. And often they're outsourcing that to a third party who's checking references, education, were they in fact in the military that they said. They might be checking those. They maybe have that third party company call all of the prior employers and confirm you worked there on those dates. But they don't need there's no place to put, you wouldn't post a letter when you apply online. So letters of record are gone. And unless a company, for some reason, I haven't even heard in the past 7 years that anyone's been asked for letters of recommendation. Now, education might, if you're looking for an education job at a university or a teaching job, I don't know if there are some specific niches that do, but I haven't heard of any. So you all have been fabulous. Education and government. Okay. Thank you from Dana. She's, I'm guessing you're Dana just as much as, but that education and government sometimes needs those. So I have a small section on government. I'm not a government expert. As you know, it's civil, corporate jobs. But if they do, then you'll get those and they'll let you know. And on some of these that I don't know, of course, Google that, and letters of recommendation for a government job. How do you get them? How do you write them, etc. Okay. Wow. Love this. I hope each of you who are still on, please just Dana Monsiagli. Let me go back. I know I haven't spelled that lately. Here. And here you go. So please connect with me on LinkedIn anywhere. If you want private job search coaching, please contact me. I layer that on top of my course. You still have all those freebies to go get. And then I sent you all of my other connection places. You want YouTubes, Instagrams, or wherever you'd like to join me. And please sign up for my newsletter, as I have a lot of freebies and other webinars going on there that you'll be invited to. So I want to give a special applause. Karen is going to be exhausted after this week. She has hosted 2 weeks of solid, amazing, professional sessions. So please check out what's remaining for this week. And Karen, big applause to you for working this hard. We appreciate it so much.
Thank you, Dana, and right back at you.